Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another playoff builds video from the Pacers, because we got the second of our 5 Pacer builds, man, and I'm recording this on Tuesday. We are a couple days away from the finals, the Pacers and OKC. It's gonna be fun. I know a lot of people have been shitting on the matchup, but the #1 offense versus the #1 defense, how can you not like that? That is NBA basketball, man. I'm excited to see how this turns out. Are the Pacers going to be able to outrun OKC's defense, or is OKC just going to be way too much of a defensive menace? And to be fair, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going to be able to get stopped? That's going to be the real question at hand, man. Is Shai going to be able to just stay consistent and be able to score at will on every single possession? But anyway, that's not what we're here for. We're here for the Aaron Nesmith build, because yes, sir, Aaron Nesmith, I think it's a really, really good build that I have here for Aaron Nesmith, considering that we went with a 3-and-D kind of player. Obviously, Nesmith can do practically a little bit on the finishing end as well, not as consistently. He's not going in there trying to do, contact dunks or anything like that. But we went with like a 3-and-D kind of build, man. So that's what we kind of have, is a 3-and-D wing, because we have a 6'6" small forward. I went with 6'6", not 6'5". I know some people are probably going to be, thinking that's a little controversial, but we went with the 6'6" version instead of 6'5". I just felt like it made more sense. And we also have some pretty good stats here, but ultimately we do have some pretty good finishing here. 84 close shot, just so we can get that up a little bit as well, with the Paint Prodigy badge and float game and everything as well being available. We have the 80 driving layup, so nothing else too crazy there. And then we also have the 75 driving dunk that's available, and then the 50 driving dunk is just there for those extra points. But ultimately, we do have the 84, 80, and 75 here, which is pretty good. The 84 close shot, like I mentioned, Paint Prodigy badge gets upgraded to silver because of this. And another thing about, the close shot is that you do have float game, which could be available with driving layup, but ultimately, you just do not get it with the driving layup being at an 80. You need like at least an 83 and then using caps until you get to an 88 driving layup for it. But with this, we can use 2 caps to get float game if we really wanted to. But ultimately, it's not really 100% necessary. But this ultimately leads us to being able to just say, okay, we can use cap breakers for float game, but it's not 100% necessary. But then we can ultimately use caps on driving layup, so then we can get layup mixmaster on silver. And we also have aerial wizard that is also on gold. And we're not able to get it upgraded at all to a Hall of Fame, but it's all right being on a gold. We have physical finisher as well. Unfortunately, we're not able to get that on gold, but this build is pretty damn solid. I know that we had one good defender in our Nembhard build in the last video, but this video ultimately is going to be your way better defender on this team. But this person is also not as great of a passer, not as great of like a playmaker in general. So he's going to be more of like your 3-and-D, able to get to the rim, able to get some dunks off, unlike Nembhard, who is not able to really get those driving dunks going, although has a driving layup ability and insanely high 3-point rating, where you can ultimately get to like a 99 3-point rating on that previous build on Nembhard. But on this one, you just don't. But like I said, we do have the 80 driving layup. We can use 5 caps to get that silver layup mixmaster, just so we can at least get a little bit more finishing going as well. But we have silver physical finisher, gold aerial wizard, silver float game. We have bronze layup mixmaster. We have the 75 driving dunk, so we can at least get to bronze poster. We cannot get silver poster, unfortunately, but that's still pretty good, man, that we can get bronze poster, because he's not somebody to poster people. Doesn't really, dunk too much unless he has like that open look in the paint. But yeah, pretty good stuff there. Now the shooting, like I mentioned, he's got an 80 mid-range, he's got an 89 3-point rating, so he doesn't have as high of shooting as Nembhard does, but ultimately we are still going to be as great shooting with this build, because we have an 89 on our 3-point rating. We have an 80 mid range. We're not able to get mini marksman or post fade phenom, so we're not going to worry about talking about the mid range here. Even though like technically, and I mentioned it before, where it's like Neesmith and Pascal are like the two players out of the starting 5 that really try to focus on, or they don't really focus on it, but they are the two that are mostly shooting mid-range jumpers the most out of everybody. Because Pascal, he likes his little spin post fade. You know, he likes his little step backs there in the mid-range. I mean, Aaron Neesmith obviously has been showing out and showing a little bit of that mid-range prowess as well, with him shooting some fading, leaning mid-range shots as well, but ultimately doesn't really focus on that too much. So that's the only reason why I just said, you know what, we're still going to keep the same concept where we have like a lower mid-range here, mainly because we do have like an 89 3-point rating, but also just so we can utilize those extra points elsewhere to make us a little bit better all around, rather than just, you know, in the mid-range, because obviously we can still be really, really good in the mid-range even with an 80. Like, that's also like another reason why, is because trying to shoot mid-ranges is not as hard as trying to shoot 3-pointers, because you can still shoot mid-ranges consistently even with like a 50-60 rating. Meanwhile, it's like with a 3-point rating of like a 70, some people might struggle with the 70, even though you know, they can hit with like a 50-60 in the mid-range. That's just how this game works, because for some reason it's just easier, and your green window is significantly bigger in the mid-range for whatever reason, even if you don't have a high mid-range rating. But ultimately, we do have the 89 3-point rating though, which does give us set shot specialist on gold and silver limitless range, so we can at least get out there for some deep shots if we have to. We can easily be one of the hash sitters as well. So if you guys like to play that hash sitter kind of role, and you are like a 3, so you like having like defense and everything like that, this is going to be the build for you, where you can get that silver limitless range to be able to do that. Unless you want to be Nemhard, and then you can do it way more effectively, because obviously with like the 99 3-point rating that's available to you on that build, and then still have great defense all around, still be pretty quick, all that stuff. Yeah, but silver Deadeye, silver limitless range, gold set shot specialist, and silver shifty shooter, all pretty good stuff here. We have the 82 free throw, which is also pretty solid. Now, with our playmaking, like I said, he's not going to be as great on the playmaking side of, you know, the offense, but he does have a 75 pass accuracy here, so we can at least get, you know, break starter on silver and dimer on silver, so we can at least utilize those and get some, you know, okay pass styles and everything like that. We can at least get those really good, at least some decent, I should say, really decent passes. So they're not going to be like full-fledged, you know, like perfect, but obviously they're going to be able to get to their spots when you actually make the correct passes. So silver break starters, silver dimer, and ultimately you can use 3 caps for versatile visionary if you wanted to, but ultimately that's going to be the only thing that you can get from this is, you know, versatile visionary, getting that to a bronze. That's really about it. Now the ball handling, he's not too crazy on, you know, the dribbling. He's not really a crazy ISO player or anything like that. So we just gave him a 71, which is good enough just to get him some, you know, some pretty okay animations, and also being able to get him the ability to get caps for strong handle and all that stuff as well, which is pretty solid. Ultimately, we cannot get unpluckable, but we have the 71 for handles for days. But ultimately, we can eventually, if we wanted to, use 4 caps to get ankle assassin on bronze, and then we can use a couple caps to get, you know, if we get the 73 here, we can get strong handle on gold, which would be pretty solid. But ultimately, we can use, you know, I left some room here so we can use some caps for ankle assassin and also strong handle if you really wanted to go that route. So you can easily do that if you want to, but we have the 71 for now, giving us the handles for days on bronze on that breakpoint. That's pretty solid there. Now we have a 75 speed, which the 75 speed is what gives us lightning launch, which is, you know, in correlation to also us getting strong handle, which would be pretty damn good, having gold strong handle with the Silver Lightning launch would be pretty solid there, just to try and get some, drives to the basket, even though we're not going to be like super heavy on the ball handling. But with our strength and having at least a little bit of ball handling and having an okay speed with ball, we should be able to at least get around some crazy defenders and all that stuff. So even if there's like a mismatch or something like that, because we are 6'6", if we do get a mismatch, like on a point guard or whatever, then we should be able to possibly, I'm not going to say that you should be able to do it every time. We should possibly every once in a while get that mismatch on the point guard, especially if he's not like a super great defender. If he's like more offensive focused, should be able to get around those guys. And especially like on bigs too, if they don't have like super high perimeter defense where they don't have a movable enforcer, then you should be able to get around those guys, get to the basket, and possibly cause a drop in somebody else. Other situations there, man. Now for defense, we have a 56 interior, that's whatever, but we do have a 95 perimeter defense. We have an 85 steal rating as well, and then the rest is kind of, just there, whatever. But we do have box out beast. We do have box out beast on bronze, so we can help out on box outs a little bit, especially like on our guys, and help prevent our players from, going in and getting put backs and all that stuff as well. So that's pretty good stuff there. Anyway, other than that, though, let's go back and talk about the perimeter defense. Obviously, we do have a 95. If we go back, we can see that we can go to a 98. We can't necessarily go to a 90, a 99, unless you really want to, I think you would have to drop your weight, if I'm not mistaken. I think you can easily do that with weight. I know that you were able to as bigger guys, but ultimately, it's not like it's going to matter too much, because I just feel like it's still pretty good stuff here, and I have to bring that back up. But I feel like it's still pretty good stuff here with the 98 being available, because it's not like you're going to be able to get Challenger on Legend, but ultimately you can still get, upgrades on Ball Menace and Pick Dodger, and ultimately you can get that off-ball pest as well to Legend with the 98. So that's like a couple of things there where it's like you're not going to be able to get every single one of these badges on Legend, but I still feel like it'll be pretty solid, especially if you're able to get, at least one of these badges on Legend. It's still pretty solid. But yeah, ultimately we do have an 85 steal as well. We don't have the 91 that I had on Nembhard, but I feel like Nembhard is just a better at getting into those passing lanes and getting those steals than Nesmith by a little bit, not by a large margin, but just a little bit better at just, playing with the ball in the space, ripping people or getting into those passing lanes, all that stuff. So I feel like he's just a little bit better at stealing than Nesmith is, but Nesmith is better at playing on-ball defense than Nembhard is. And as I mentioned it before, Nesmith is like the better defender, but obviously Nembhard is still pretty good. But Nesmith is better, in my personal opinion. I mean, the way he was guarding Jalen Brunson all season, or not all season, but all series in the playoffs there. Obviously, even with a hurt ankle as well, and then coming back out and then still being able, like in the next game, to lock him down and still be able to do some stuff. Ultimately, I believe that next game, I think like that was like what, game 3 where we lost him, and then he came back and then we ultimately lost the game or something like that, if I remember. I don't quite remember too much, but ultimately it's still really, really good stuff there as well. But we do have 85 steal, so we do get that interceptor on gold at least. Just have silver glove, and we can't get anything upgraded with caps here, so we just will move on. Speaking of the physicals though, we do have the 88 speed, 85 agility. Now we do have the ability here of using caps to get Slippery off ball in Hall of Fame if you so choose to. As you can see, we can get to a 90 agility and 94 speed. So if you wanted to, you can use 4 cap breakers on your speed in order to get to a 92, and then use 3 caps on the agility to get to the 88, and then use the Hall of Fame Slippery off ball, get some cuts to the basket, or get to like an open spot on the floor for like a jump shot, whatever the case may be. Pretty good stuff there. We don't have high flying deniers, so that's unfortunate, but our agility, man, is still what gets us for a lot of things. Now, obviously, once we upgrade our perimeter defense, we would have to upgrade our agility as well, just to make sure that we have, you know, the agility needed for on-ball menace and pick dodger and all that stuff, if we can get these upgraded to legend, obviously. So there's that. But ultimately, we do have them on gold right now. Slippery off ball on gold, shifty shooter on silver. Pretty good stuff there. The strength being a 71, the 71 is what is needed for that immovable enforcer, and also gives us a little bit of an advantage because we can just use some cap breakers to get to a 73, ultimately to also get to the 73 ball handling as well, using those caps to get gold strong handle, as I mentioned before. Pretty good stuff there. We also have box out beast on bronze. We have a high enough rating to get on silver, but ultimately we don't get the rebounding for it, so that's unfortunate. Brick wall, just use one cap breaker there, and then you'll have brick wall on bronze. Ultimately, we cannot get immovable enforcer upgraded because we need an 82 strength. We only have a 71. We don't have a high enough interior defense to really utilize post lock, and then we don't have a high enough post control to utilize post powerhouse. So that's the only reason why we don't have either of these. But we ultimately will be able to get brick wall, and we can get strong handle upgraded. So those two can get upgraded. The rest will not be able to. So silver physical finisher, silver strong handle, bronze box out beast, bronze immovable enforcer is what we have out of the gate on strength. And vertical being a 75, just good enough for us to be able to utilize, you know, other stuff as well. But having posterizer on bronze is pretty solid there, and we cannot get it upgraded, unfortunately. And then same with Aerial Wizard, cannot get it upgraded because we don't have a high enough driving layup or driving dunk ability or even a standing dunk in order to get it upgraded to Hall of Fame. We could get the vertical for if we used all 5 caps, but we can't get anything else. And then same with the posterizer. We do have the vertical, the exact vertical that we need, but we don't get the driving dunk for it. So ultimately, that's all that we have is bronze poster, gold Aerial Wizard, no high flying denier, no pogo stick, no rise up. So we're not able to get any of those stats there because we do have the vertical for them, but we don't have some of the other stats. We don't have the block. We don't have the block or rebounding for pogo, and then we don't have the standing dunk for rise up. So ultimately, in the end, they say that this is OG Anunoby, which is funny enough. You know, that's what is crazy about it. But they say OG Anunoby, Norman Powell, and Alex Caruso. You know, Chicago, the Bulls, Alex Caruso. Funny enough, but 3-and-D wing. And you know, shout out to my Tyrese Halliburton face creation because I was playing on my Hallie build. But yeah, but this is the 3-and-D wing. I definitely do like this build for Aaron Nesmith. Let me know what you guys think of this build in the comment section down below. That's going to be it for me. If you guys did like this, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Hit the bell notification icon so you get all the notifications from all my videos. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Later, everybody.